But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Survive the Spin, Effie Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Tiers Morgan, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Barely, J Mel's 24, Ulamento, Iron 26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. But with that, I'm going to hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. Hello.
How are you, Nathan?
I'm all right. I had a bash at singing the song I wrote.
Hey, thanks for the thing the other day that you sent me. Appreciate it.
Oh, money? Everybody likes money.
Yeah, I didn't see it till the next day. My wife told me. I was like, huh? I feel guilty when you do that. I'm supposed to be supporting you. You got the show.
I support things that I like, right? Well, I often find myself listening to my own show because you're talking on it. That is to say, I like you in terms of what content you specifically produce. Well, in that regard, it's like, well, support you financially for that, you know. I sent Morgal a chat as well. I mean, we're not talking very much money, right? We're talking low-end double digits for you and Morgal. But the same thing applies, right? It's like, sold a couple of microphones. I'm just the right side of the black. That means I've got a couple of quid that I can give literally you and Morgal, and it is just a couple of quid. But, you know, I like that. I can only assume you're worse off than I am currently, and the same goes for Morgal. He's just had a birthday, and he's on his birthday going on poor on a video, like e-begging video. You're like, that's crap. So, you know.
He's going through it too. He's probably still, of course, he's grieving. He lost his wife. I mean, that you don't get over that in a year or so.
Yeah.
That's a forever thing.
Exactly. So, yeah. Support the things you like, don't you? People support me enough, and there's very few people I give money to. So, but people give me money all the time. So,
Speaking about supporting things you like, can't wait for this book.
we did a bit more work on it after everyone went yesterday evening as well. So we got to the end of the editing process of chapter 8. It's just what I like to do is go through it, editing minor bits, go through it again, and then make any major changes after you've got an idea what's actually in the chapter, and then go through it a third time, again making minor changes where necessary, but ultimately just listening to it back so you can confirm that it can go into the long form book. So each of the chapters are in their own little file that my wife's put together for each. So they're all separate, but each time we finish one, we put it into what we're calling, the book, because it's all one long string of everything, one after the next, all in the same typeface and font size and things like that. So that'll happen after today's live show. I'll ask her if she's up for it. We'll go through chapter 8, read it through again, all 20 pages of it. I think it's the longest chapter of all of them. The fact that it's taken the better part of a week to do, it's not surprising. Some of them took a day, like the first couple of chapters were so easy. You just rattled through them in a day. Whereas these ones later on, when they're a bit more in depth, Coriolis, R value, gravity, they just take a bit longer, but that's fine. And I can't make them any less boring either. I want to, but it would distract from them if I did try and make them interesting. It's just you got to cover what's in it and just kind of be done with it. Trying to make it humorous would just make it even longer.
It's going good.
It is. I think we've got about 6 weeks before Easter now. How long is it till Easter? Something like that.
Yeah, just about that.
Yeah, we're 2/3 of the way through. One more third to do. It. 3 days.
Yeah, so Easter's April 5th. So yeah, you got just about 6 weeks.
Yeah,
that's only 5.
5 weeks. That's all right. I think we can get it done in 5 weeks. Don't see any reason why not. If we both, my wife and I, that is, pull our fingers out and just get on with it. And you can get a general gauge of how fast we get working through it when you're listening.
Yes. And even if you don't, you set your sights for Easter. So if it happens before or a week or two after, no big deal.
No, you're right. Yeah, correct. It doesn't matter exactly when. It's just that was roughly the timeline that I arbitrarily placed on it. Like, yeah, we should be able to, at this pace, get it done by approximately Easter. But it's been several years in the making, so, that shows in the material quality. It's been thoroughly researched, plenty of input and scrutiny from other people. So, I mean, I'm confident with what I'll produce. I think it'll be a good product.
Me too, but you don't realize how long it's in the making until you put the friggin' Einstein thing together. Started out at 108 years out of date, and now we're at 111.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Tells me how long I've been writing it for. But that's okay. I think it would have been a lower quality product if it had come out 18 months ago. It wouldn't have been focused or had the rewrites that we've done literally this time around on the 7th draft, as we will read it out with a light to it being the final copy. Hopefully it won't need redrafting again. But 7 drafts is a lot, and that obviously only takes place over several years. It means that particular version's had incorporated within it lots of pointing out that there's flat Earth prerequisites being used.
Okay, it's finished.
So yeah.
It's for the battery.
Look, you okay?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the way it's going. Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
It's actually both of us standing here. How you doing, Neil? Good to speak to you, man.
Everything's roses.
We have Roses chocolates here in the UK. So when you say everything's roses, all that springs to my mind for me is a tin of chocolates that you get around Christmas time.
Yeah, then they shrunk exponentially over the years.
Yeah, I see people moaning about shrinkflation regularly in my doom scrolling of a late evening before bedtime. Thinking about how things have gotten smaller.
Well, that's a fact.
It's true. It's really true. I see like a picture of like a Quality Street tin from 1980s, and then one from the 90s, and then one from 2000s, and like what? And I remember, you remember, Nathan? Come on, we were actually there to see the size of those tins once upon a time.
Oh, absolutely. I remember getting, at least half a dozen purple ones in a tin. Now you're lucky if you get two.
Exactly. Especially, you notice that it's always like the coconut ones or the ones no one wants. It's like full of them, and never the good ones.
Yeah, nobody wants the orange ones or, no one wants that. Everyone wants the hazelnut one and the walnut one.
Well, they show you that. I was watching this video. They were showing you as inflation goes up, the products year by year get smaller and smaller by such a small margin. But by the time 20 years goes by, you really do see how small, like say, for instance, a Mars bar has gotten since 1980 till now. I mean, you keep going, the thing's going to be finger size.
You just have to buy more, innit, Neil?
That's how they make their money, right? Because inflation, when it goes up, right, and prices go up, I mean, they never come back down.
Nathan, we spoke about this in the curry house the other week, which I'm being asked, are you coming tomorrow, by the way? But remember, you were saying that it's all right if inflation goes up as long as the wages match it. But that's where it's changed. The wages don't match the inflation no more.
That's it. Hit it right in the head. That's what happens.
Yeah, so you as an individual have got a couple of choices. You either reduce your outgoings or you increase your income. That's pretty much your only options. Everything else is, if you're at the stage I am, certainly maybe not true for everybody. I've gotten to the point where we are as pared back as we can be. You can't go down another notch in terms of the quality of items that you're buying from a supermarket, for instance. You get to a certain level, they don't get any cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Steal more stuff.
Steal more.
Listen, I've been in positions where, as a Christian, I had to do what I had to do to feed my family, and I will continue to if I have to. But I don't have a good conscience doing it, even though you're being ripped off daily. It just, I don't know. But I'll do what I have to do to feed my family.
Yeah, you just want to do grave robbing. Well, steal from dead things like corpses, corporations. They're already dead. They don't care.
I don't encourage people to steal things.
Yeah, but everybody will do what they have to do if their family's in need. You do what you have to do. I mean, I wouldn't hurt anybody in the process. Like you say, it would be corporations. A little Robin Hood here.
Well, if you find stuff lying about in the ground, like oil or gold, you pick it up and sell it on, don't you? Is that stealing or is that just, I don't know.
No. That's finders keepers, right?
So if you're walking round and walked into a shop and found something on the floor, it's finders keepers.
Yeah, exactly. Knock over a freaking filet mignon. How'd that get on the floor? Oh, well, it's got to go in my bag now.
See, just make up rules like they do.
Not to change the subject, but there's a suggestion that there's rules that are around the subject that we cover here, right, on Flat Earth Debate. And the more I feel like I'm stepping back from the idea of there being a debate, the more intrigued I am with the attempted repositioning of the category. So if you can place mathematics measurements with respect to geography, that's Earth's surface, into a different category, like English, like how a word gets defined, or science, like how you prove cause and effect based on phenomena observation, then you can convolute what is pretty, well, not even pretty, what is steadfast in terms of what a measurement is. So what I mean by this is, if you change how you describe something that's being measured, so for example, when they say flat isn't flat, it's curved, right? It's a delusion that the person saying that, number one, has any influence over what actually takes place in the real world in practical application. And number two, that the words used to describe the measurement alter what the measurement is. And the measurement is, if being measured, being put to a practical use. That's to say, it serves a purpose, otherwise you wouldn't be measuring it. But how you phrase what you have measured doesn't alter what the measurement is. So if you've got, for instance, a surface level measurement, say, yes, I need to measure this surface level to get a distance, just for the sake of this discussion. And then you say, yes, I understand that the distance is straight and linear when I apply it to my maths that I'm extrapolating out from the measurement or applying to, I don't know, something to do with mapping or whatever it is you're going to do with that distance, right? Doesn't matter. But then you say, but, like in addition to what I've done, it doesn't mean that the surface I require to be flat as per the measurement is actually flat. Actually, the surface can be described as curved, or I can describe the surface as being bent by a force called gravity, or I can describe it as perpendicular to the centre of a sphere Earth. In other words, I can utilise semantics to interpret what was just measured and then verbalise it to another person. Yeah? But that, let's call that English, doesn't alter what was actually measured. Now, if you accidentally take the semantics of the description literally, it might vary how you measure and therefore make your measurement incorrect. Very bad if you need it for a practical application. But so long as you are performing the measurement correctly, how you then verbalise it is irrelevant. Sticking it into a category error and saying it's scientifically proven to be curved, again, doesn't matter if you take it from mathematics to phenomena based or philosophically. Well, if the surface I've just measured flat is actually curving, then we've got a sphere Earth beneath our feet. You know, taking it into the philosophical, the scientific, the grammatical is utterly inconsequential to how a measurement actually takes place. Now, again, this, upon my recent realisation, just adds more apathy to my position. I no longer give a crap how somebody takes these measurements of Earth, and it is flat in all circumstances, into a description that they use to ease their cognitive dissonance, to soothe their pain, to make a square a circle. It doesn't bother me anymore. It does a little bit. It bothers me less and less as time progresses, because there's this delusion that me talking about it with somebody else or debating about it with somebody else alters what it is. And when it comes to measurements, geography, mathematics for Earth's surface, How we describe them, how we define them, is irrelevant to how we use them. No words are needed when you're stretching out a tape measure and glancing at the number on it, if you're the one utilising that tape measure. But you can scream at the tape measure. You can knock on your next door neighbour's door and scream at him about what you've just read off a tape measure. You know what I mean? But it doesn't alter what the tape measure does when you're measuring with it. And if you're putting it to practical application, that's to say you're going to make a cut off to the measurement, then you want to make a measurement that is accurate. But again, descriptions of things like the word accuracy don't alter what you're actually trying to achieve when you hold the tape measure more steady. You know what I mean? It doesn't alter what it is, does it? Again, putting it into an if statement won't change what you actually practically do and what you need to acquire if you're making a measurement. So, what we're dealing with, what we are opposed with currently, is twofold. One, people that have put themselves into a self-important position where their understanding of this stuff matters, and along the same vein, the idea that it matters. That their description of how a functional process works, they think that them describing it differently, like flat being curved, matters. It doesn't. Like you can do that if you want to have a better night's sleep, like cognitively, if that works for you, saying that this principle with an axiom attached to it as part of the measurement is violated because you can linguistically square the circle. Like, well, that's very good and very clever if you're trying to achieve your ends in the English language. But we're not. We're measuring Earth's surface. Same goes for descriptions of phenomena and descriptions of philosophy. Putting it into a logical statement. You're like, I mean, if that helps you, good for you, and do it. But nothing you do in terms of changing a logical consistency or linguistically altering what something means will change how it must be measured if it's going to hold true as a measurement. So it becomes even more inconsequential how and why we argue with the people who oppose us. I've said this on many of the previous shows in the last week or two, but the pedestal that I'm on, when people appeal to me, like, I've managed to square this circle, have a look. Like, why? Did you mistake me for a cartographer? Did you think that I had propagandized or gerrymandered the maps? Did you think that I'd come up with flight level? Why are you appealing to me for this? And the more time goes on, the more I'm going to point this out. Sorry, why are you trying to appeal to me about this? Do you think I am of consequence? You're appealing to the wrong person. If you want to use your linguistic prowess to alter the definition of something that is inconsequential to how you define it, it's a measurement. How you measure it is all that matters. Now, if you want to violate some of the axioms linguistically, you can do that. It doesn't change what you're measuring, though, does it? So who cares? And the fact that you're having this discussion with little old me, I mean, while flattering, won't change what is practically applied to Earth's surface.
I've been in science for 40 years. I did not give 40 years of my life to have somebody come in and lie to everybody about measurements.
But that's the whole point. They're invested. They give it time, thought, effort. They're invested. And when you want to provide them evidence of contradiction of their belief, they get a bit scared. So they have to start invoking magic, things that keep it all grey so that they can be comfortable, as Nathan says, with their pain when they realise that it doesn't quite work.
If I read half the messages I get from certain people, your head would spin. It's like, you're talking about investing time. Look how much time you're investing in my life. What do you care? Like, because I don't care what they're doing with their life. That's their life, right? Do what you want with it. The advice I get from people is sickening sometimes. How bad Nathan is. And what am I doing wasting my time? He's a scammer. It's like, dude, get a life.
It's one of the usual tricks that they discredit people by just calling them names but ultimately you have to feel sorry for the globers, because ultimately you could look at the world today and be pretty happy in your decision about what you think about it. You've looked at it, you've taken on board the choices that you have. Is it a globe? Is it flat? Is it a cube? Whatever it is, but you're happy that you've looked at all those possibilities. But they haven't had that opportunity yet. They are stuck with their original information they were given. So they were said, here you live on a ball. They haven't been able to make any choices, and they're jealous that you are able to make a choice and they can't. They have to stick with their first original information.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I never thought of it like that. But that's their own fault, though. They have the same ability, right, that everybody else has. Now you're going to stick with the consensus, and because 90% of the world says you're on a globe, and you're not going to come to grips that pseudoscience is just what it is, pseudoscience, and it's not science. We're a totally different category when we're talking about the measurements of Earth. I mean, these are things that are not hard to understand.
It's a bit about parenting. I'll upset a few people now, but parents are to blame for a lot of this, because you are your parent. So like yesterday, I had somebody come in the shop and their child was throwing a bit of a tantrum because he couldn't get his own way. And you think, well, is it the child's fault or is it the parent's fault for teaching him how to have a tantrum in the first place and then allowing him to carry on having that tantrum? Is the child in the wrong or is it the parent? So if the parents teach you how to think, then you've only got the parents to blame. How do you break the cycle?
I hear what you're saying. What's up, Refracted?
If you do the refracted,
Now we're talking about the simplicity of measurements again, and how everybody has the same opportunity to look at the information before them. It's not hard, right? You either go with consensus and stick with the program, or you fuck the system and say, wait a second, it's measured flat.
in the moment you are told there is no measurements of curvature, it's a wrap.
I'm happy to accept their explanation of the curvature and how they measure it curved. I just want to see the practical demonstration as a final input. Once I get that final input, I'm back there. Do you know?
Yeah, but if they do that, they'll be measuring it flat.
Yeah, well, they'll figure out that eventually. But in the meantime, I'm happy to accept what they say. Just would like a bit of evidence, that's all.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, though, right? They can't give you any evidence without breaking some rules, right?
Yeah, but they've got to figure that out, which means they'd have to go away and look at it themselves. So that's where you push the opportunity back for them to think again about what it is they're suggesting. You say, well, yeah, okay, come and explain it to me how you measure this. Once I see what you're showing me works, then we'll be fine. But obviously be aware, if you need a flat measurement to start, then it's not going to work.
That's where they're always going to start. They have to start there. That's what I say. This whole thing is so
Yeah, it's okay. We know that, but they haven't figured that out yet. Maybe if they look at it long and hard enough, they might figure it out and have that moment of, oh, yes, they're actually right.
Okay.
But for what? To what benefit? To what
I
ends?
see you have.
Hold on,
Go ahead.
just Craig. Who cares? And then what?
Oh, yeah. Well, and people do care because as I say, my point about it's parents. If your parents don't give you the right information, your kids may be quite lucky that they get more of a variety of information. But that's not true for so many kids. And how long do you have to invest in it, go to universities and indoctrinate yourself into all this junk, and then just to be told it was a waste of time because, yeah.
But you used two words that were important: care and invest. But your context for invest was time, and your context for care was just emotional. That is to say, before you said invest, I'm like, well, what's this going to develop in terms of profit or an ease of your financial circumstances? We were moaning about that with shrinkflation. Will any of these revelations change your life in that regard? I would say the answer is no. The only downside is what you started out when you first piped up with, which is to say that you're going to be investing in this heavily, only to find that, number one, it doesn't bear fruit. It doesn't give you anything useful. You can't practically apply it to anything. In fact, quite the converse. The practical applications of this stuff is all flat. The people who are making money from it are utilising that fact, not sphericity. So then you've only got the investment that you've past tense already put into it, wanting to be or needing to be defended because you've invested time into it. And I think Neil started off with a little quote, or made one up, where someone's saying, I'm not going to study science for 20 years just for you to come along and lie about measurements. Right, measurements aren't in need of anybody's defence. They're not in need of anybody lying about them. And if somebody does lie about them, it doesn't change how they function. And those functional mathematics and measurements of Earth's surface are definitely put into practical use, definitely do bear fruit, definitely lend profit to the person who understands and utilises them. And again, back to my question, in terms of what benefits the average Joe who's not using actual flat Earth surface measurements of anything ever, what benefit is there to them to know that they were wrong about heliocentrism? Like, how does it benefit them?
Good question. I mean, I think there are benefits to knowing because it opens up your mind to other things. Is the easiest way to put it. I'll be careful what I say there. But
can you put a dollar value on that?
why is it about dollars?
Because it's something I can use to quantify it. It's like beyond your feelings. I mean, I feel bad for the people who think it's a ball. Okay. And beyond me producing my YouTube videos, I can't monetize that. Now, you might say, well, that's very mercenary. Like, yeah, but it's an easy way to qualify this stuff. When I say to the dweebs, what difference does it make if you know it's flat or not? Who cares if you know? What I mean by that is you having a feeling or having your mind expanded to know about other stuff that you might be being deceived with. And then what? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Most of the time, if you try and utilise that to your financial ends on something like YouTube, you end up like myself or Ali McForever or whatever she's called, making 9/11 videos and having them removed as misinformation when they're heavily researched. You're like, oh yeah, so if you've opened your mind up to some things that might be nefarious or staged or whatever it is about the news that you want to suddenly branch into from realising that you've been lied to about Earth's surface measurements, then you're not going to necessarily develop any coin from that. If you try to, in terms of a entertainment endeavour, that's to say you're putting TikTok videos and YouTube videos out, right? You'll find that you actually don't make bank from it. You're limited more for covering those subjects. So it's back to, only because it's an easy way to quantify it, how does this benefit people? When they ask, well, what difference does it make? I'll have to pay my mortgage tomorrow. You're like, yeah, absolutely correct. You will just have to pay your mortgage tomorrow, meaning this won't get you closer to doing that ends. It won't be easier to pay your mortgage for finding out it's flat or believing it's a globe by contrast. And going, oh, well, my mind's now expanded. I'll start looking into other subjects. Okay. And will that help pay my mortgage? Is the question.
You're trying to quantify it in a cost. That's easy. If everybody looked at things closely and could see the cons that were there clearly in front of them every day, then maybe they could demand a better system that allowed money to be more free and spread about equally, rather than allowing certain individuals to collect massive amounts of money and leave everybody else short. I mean, if you want to talk about fairness of society, more people would be happy to give you money and pay for your time. But while people are stuck in their mindset that you're lying to them, obviously they're not going to do that. But the freedom of thought to do with your resources as you feel fit, whether that be feelings or cash, doesn't matter.
It doesn't always free the mind either. Sometimes it prison. A lot of people think of it as prison when they
Right.
realize it's flat, and that's what drives them back to the ball.
Yeah, you could argue that people feel then, but this, if we were created, then it is, you could argue, a prison. I always thought of the ball was a prison. It's a place you can never get off.
Yep. Yeah,
No,
that's some guy screaming to me. Flat Earth means
No.
that we nowhere to live. It's so small. What do you mean it's so small?
I don't think you're picking up what John's putting down because he said no 3 times. Go ahead, John.
Look, heliocentrism set the imagination free. We're floating through a speck of infinite possibilities. I mean, at first flat or contained, there's a system that's really, in the way heliocentrism describes it, we're just the tiny speck. We're not the speck in specklessness, right? We're just the speck.
Yeah, but free for who? You say that the here. I understand exactly what you're saying. We have all of outer space and uncharted areas we can go to. Who can go to?
Precisely.
Unlimited possibilities for the future.
Not in your lifetime, not relevant.
Unlimited. I said imagination.
Possibilities and imagination, they're free to roam in your brain without any actual things being done.
Yeah, and they do. And that's what it's all about, right?
With no benefit at all.
Yeah, that's my point. What's the benefit? So if you have this out-of-the-box thinking applied because you are a heliocentrist, and you're like, no, I really do buy into Copernicus and his ideas and orbital motions and sky vacuums, you're like, okay, good for you. That's nice. But what's in it for me telling them that they're wrong? Very little. Now, as a controlled member of the public in general, that's what 1% of the things that are utilised to control their lives. And it's a well-established one-world religion that's put in place for the reasons that we discuss on a regular basis. But for us now standing or stepping outside of that little ring looking in, you go, what is the benefit to me to tell that person that they're wrong? Now, you might say, well, they'll expand their mind. Okay, well, let's make it one more selfish step separated from that fact, if you want to call it a fact. I mean, I'm not necessarily agreeing with you, Craig. I'm saying, what's in it for you telling that next man? Besides, in the moment, having an enjoyment factor, an entertainment factor, what we currently call sniffing your own farts. What's in it for you?
Okay, I just heard what you just said. I don't need to go and tell anybody they're wrong. But if somebody came to me and said, why do you think that way? So if somebody come on the show tomorrow and said, tell me more, I'm really interested. You will give them the facts. And that's fair enough. You're not going to be rude to them. You're not going to be out of order with them. You're just going to talk to them. It's when they want to tell you you're wrong, then it becomes a totally different arena, doesn't it?
Yes. And I think Nathan's trying to pull away from that, right?
Well,
Yeah,
the people who do
really
come are the
wrong.
second of that category, though, aren't they, Craig? The people who come are the people who want to hear how we describe something congruent with what they currently believe, specifically so that they can tell us that we're wrong.
Well, I think telling people that they're wrong is one way you create enemies. Just tell them what you know, and then you don't have to finish the sentence.
That's not. Yeah, but that's not what Craig said. Craig wasn't saying anybody was wrong. He's saying if somebody comes to the show and they're asking you and they want to know more and more, we're just telling them how it is. We're not telling them how anything's wrong.
And you don't have to tell them they're wrong.
Give me the question they would ask. I'll tell you how I would answer it. How about that?
What do you know about Earth and how it's dealt with?
It's measured as a planar surface with changing topography.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Well, what happens when they say, "But we think it's round"? We just say that's okay. You're allowed to believe that, but have you checked the measurements? That's it.
I think what I would say now is, what difference does it make if it's a sphere in your belief? I still have to pay my mortgage tomorrow if I believe your nonsense.
There you go. That's you beat me to it. Yep. Yeah, what difference does it make if you believe that?
Throughout my period in this discussion forum, that's Flat Earth Debate, I have found almost universally that as the battlefield grows, the types of weapons that get used against us are easily the most effective weapons to use on our so-called opponents. When they were utilising a flat Earth prerequisite elevation to derive a distance to a geometric horizon at 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, their weapon is our weapon. It's got surface level in it, it's got eye level in it, it's got distances that are linear and horizontal in it. It's got every single ingredient you could ever need to have an upshot net result for you as an individual of complete apathy towards the subject. Soon as you see it. Well, these are the weapons that they brought to the table for 15 years. So you go, all you had to do was take the weapon off the person that had put it in front of you. Now, I go, why would I want to be on a battlefield again? What was it paying me to be on a battlefield? It really wasn't, was it? But I waste quite a lot of time and bleed quite a lot. Well, why would I want to do that? I mean, because I'll open the mind of the person on the battlefield with me. I don't care. They've bought weapons. And I've got to take their weapons and show them how they're flat Earth prerequisites. Because I don't have an answer to that. There's no upshot. We're only dealing with muppets who are inconsequential to the subject to begin with. Like me. I don't make any difference to this subject. The measurements do not need me as a defense lawyer, do they?
No, but did you ever have a zip gun pointed at you?
No. There's a certain amount of coercion that got me to the battlefield.
A zip gun is just as dangerous as a real gun, but you can't tell from a distance that weapon can kill you. So, yeah, they came, and they do come every day with weapons for us to use. But we don't recognize them. We didn't recognize them.
But now we do. Here we go. Is to round out this analogy by metaphor. You could say, well, check it out. All of these weapons and the ammunition they come with is all absolutely custom made to shoot your opponent in the face and win. But then, by the time you recognise that, you go, well, I don't need the weapon. I can stand up and walk off the battlefield. Now, that isn't me saying, I want my swan song. That's me saying, no, I can recognise that the battle was pointless. I don't need... Once I know that the weapons are all flat Earth weapons, and not a single exception to that fact, why would I want to pick them up and fire them at people? Just walk away.
They'd be firing them at themselves, won't they? Every time if it backfires, they shoot it at you, they're just shooting themselves.
They're just going to design a new one. Look how cool this new one is. Like, okay. But the process of fighting is what's giving you pain relief. Because the battle's never going to be won for the person on the opposing side using flat Earth measurements to suggest they're on a sphere. But once we collectively recognise that, why would we want to pick the weapons up? It's like, well, because they've got silver bullets inside. Sorry, does that mean you've got to fire them? No. Is there a benefit to firing them? Well, actually, no. Not necessarily. Unless you're out, learning how to fly or learning how to produce maps or measure the surface in some useful capacity, then no, but when that is the case, you're no longer utilising that information because it's been loaded into a gun. It's just the bullet rolls out with a linear, circular acquisition of measurement when converting it to the distance that it's translatable to if you roll it along the ground. I couldn't think of a better thing to do with a circular device like a bullet. Nevertheless, ham-handed though it may be, my point is that the ammunition is practically applied the world over when measuring it, but it's just not done on a battlefield. And the battlefield was being fought between dweebs and cool kids who had no consequence in the subject to begin with. So it's kind of a pointless battle, and knowing that the bullets are full of silver bullets doesn't mean you've got to fire them. It's like, oh, right, so I'd won all along. I just need to look at the gun and recognise what the bullets are made of to know that every measurement of Earth is flat. Therefore, I don't need to fire the gun anymore. I've already won. What difference does it make? And shooting it won't make me feel better. It won't earn me more money.
See, my understand, like my analogy would be like VR battle, right? You're in a virtual reality arguing this.
Yes.
But when you take off the goggles, it's just flat.
Yeah, there's an illusion of a battle taking place in some game. But what's the purpose of the game? Just to waste your time.
How are you?
Zippity doo dah.
Hey, do we want to set up the board, or are we just going to end the game?
So in the pre-show, we were discussing how fighting over this subject is pointless, right? The measurements don't need any defense. They don't need any human being to stand on a battlefield fighting off flat Earth prerequisite silver bullets in the form of measurements that are used to infer that there's a sphericity to the surface that's being measured flat to infer it. That isn't needed. There's no defense lawyer needed for measurements, and all we subject ourselves to is a recategorization of what is surface level measurements in order to argue with dweebs that have no consequence on how Earth gets measured. Furthermore, if you're going to attempt to verbally alter what a measurement requires for pain relief, it doesn't change what a measurement is. That is to say, how a measurement is performed, that's to say, with respect to geography and Earth's surface level being measured, acquired, utilised, it won't alter how that is practically applied if you move the goalposts linguistically. That is to say, you start describing level or flat as curving because it cognitively eases your pain. The measurement of Earth and its surface level will still be exactly that, regardless of your recategorization or linguistic attempts to change or alter the meaning of what the measurement requires. So it's not an English language definitional or semantic proposition when you make a measurement. You can try and argue with your tape measure, but it won't alter what the tape measure is giving you. You can linguistically describe accuracy of the tape measure, but it won't alter what the tape measure is ultimately giving you. And when referring to Earth's surface geographically and the measurements of Earth's surface level, for an axiomatic principle, for an angle, or for topographical changes with respect to that plane of reference, how you linguistically detail that or alter the words used to describe the measurement won't change the measurement. It only soothes your pain if you're violating the axioms by saying things like, well, level means curved. So what? Your linguistic attempts don't change the measurement. The same applies to putting measurements into a different category, like suggesting that there's some scientific empiricism to be attained when you're measuring Earth's surface level. There isn't. There's no science, and there's no philosophy. Putting statements of absolute fact in terms of their axiomatic requirement of Earth's surface level to be measured won't change because you state it as an if statement and infer that there's some logical consistency to be adhered to. You're either utilising the surface level to acquire your measurement, or you're not. It's not an if statement when you're just acquiring a measurement of Earth's surface level. You can try to put it into a philosophical context, but it won't alter the measurement. You can try and put Earth's flat measurements into a scientific context, but it won't change the measurement. You can attempt to semantically and linguistically alter the meaning of the measurement, but it won't ultimately change the measurement of Earth's flat surface and its practical application.
Well
So what
said.
do? We argue with dweebs. For nothing. For no reason. It doesn't serve anybody.
Well, now that you've got that out of the way about the linguistics not mattering, they need to stop contacting people who create dictionaries and having them denounce their own definitions.
Oh, you mean like M. Scott Veitch and Ruhif?
Yeah, sustainable by design has the definition of an elevation angle. It hasn't changed, but now he's had to add in 3 paragraphs of him denouncing his own definition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're making a horizontal plane a reference imaginary as well. So therefore, your ground is imaginary.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like it matters when I go through the rock and the hard place rebuttal to this. It's almost like I'm dignifying it with a response, which I am. We're only half a step out of this subject matter in terms of the illusion of debate. But it is back to the rock and the hard place. Okay, so measuring Earth's surface level in this instance, as per the definition of an elevation angle by sustainable by design. Okay, so when we measure Earth's surface level, it forms part of the angle, the elevation angle. Okay, that's something that you could, if you were lost at sea, put into a practical application for circles of equal elevation to acquire a fix. That's to say you won't die at sea so long as you understand implicitly how flat you will measure Earth's surface level for an elevation angle. Now, if I go out of my way to redefine this surface level angle acquisition to being a curved surface, does it alter what the measurement is? No. If I, on the other hand, say, well, let's not make it curved, let's make it still flat, but imaginary, then you are either relinquishing, that's hard place, the measurements that you will ultimately utilise to infer the sphericity of a real Earth that you believe in which case you haven't got any measurements. Or you say, no, we are measuring the surface level and it is real when you, I don't know, form the latitude system that you wrap around a ball. If you want to say, no, the surface level acquisition of this angle to Polaris is imaginary, well, then you don't have a ball to create in your mind as being real. What, imaginary measurements to create a real surface that's ball-shaped? It's ludicrous. It's a measurement of surface level. It's called an altitude angle. Now, in this particular instance, somebody, I don't know who or care, has gone out to alter what sustainable by design say about it. As I just gave in the preamble, you don't get to control what a measurement is by English standards. It's not about how it's defined. Now, further to that particular definition, I've got 20 of them. Now, if I was to lay down my weapons and step into the battlefield and start firing off the other definitions of Earth's surface level for its acquisition of an elevation angle, it'd be like the illusion of a debate continues. In reality, if you want to measure Earth to navigate the surface level, then you understand implicitly that you are measuring Earth so you can navigate it. If, on the other hand, it's so painful that the measurement of Earth's flat surface for the acquisition of an elevation angle means that it's not really the Earth's surface level, then you haven't got an Earth surface level measurement to acquire to turn into a ball. It is that simple for the people who are doing this, because me, I'm not doing it. I don't care anymore what Sustainable by Design or Radar Tutorial say about what an elevation angle measurement is. That is them, by extension, sniffing their own farts because they feel that their words are consequential to what an elevation angle measurement of Earth's surface actually is. How an individual defines a measurement is irrelevant. The measurement stands with its axiomatic principles if you're putting it into practical application. No words are required. But miscategorizing it into this falls under the standards of semantical discussion, what we're going to do, go through the Socratic method to establish what a angle measurement is. No, this doesn't fall under Socratic discussion. It's a measurement, in this case of Earth's surface level, to form part of an angle. Now, it amuses me greatly that people have deluded themselves that going out and changing it by way of the definitional alteration they hope to achieve will in some way alter how flat Earth is measured when put into practical application. Again, these people are delusional. They think that their words on an internet website will alter the way Earth functions. Wrong.
No, you're missing it, Nathan. You're missing it. They've chosen that specific one. So now, whenever you bring it up or mention it, you don't read the new one. Look, Nathan's lying. Look, he's not telling the truth. He's only reading half a definition or an old definition. You see? So they put it on the person to try to character assassinate you for not keeping up with.
Oh, okay, I'll give it them. I see what you're saying. So this is about how Nathan defines an elevation angle. Oh, right. Oh, well, you can take this as a win. Oh, I was completely wrong. Because sustainable design now say it's an imaginary surface that we measure for elevation. So it's just imaginary. We don't have any surface measurements in this instance to acquire elevation angles to, I don't know, Polaris to form the latitude grid your ball depends on, because I, on this high pedestal these people have put me on, say it incorrectly. Oh, right, you think it's Nathan Oakley's elevation angle. Yeah, you're right. I'm very important when it comes to these semantical discussions. Nathan Oakley is the arbiter of these things. Don't you forget it. And you will, dweebs, appeal to me, your God, in this regard, to get it right on your behalf as your representative. Because that's what you've elevated me to when you appeal to me in this way. Like it matters if I've got it wrong? I mean, I haven't. I've got 20 definitions from various different sources that describe measuring Earth's surface for an angle. It's self-explanatory and in the title. It's an elevation angle. But I haven't really, to be more sincere, got any bearing on this. But I love how the dweebs have elevated me to some importance in this regard. Thank you, dweebs. You're correct to do so. I am your God in this regard.
Just so you know, your definition is not wrong, and it has not been changed. They've made him add a separate paragraph below that one that denounces his definition.
I mean, that's just sad. Like I say, taking mathematical derivations that are practically applied and saying, let's take it to the English language use on a website and not alter it, but add an addition so we can cook to our globe belief. It's like, no, this isn't a linguistic standard. It's not semantic. We're not going to apply the Socratic method to whether or not an elevation angle measurement requires it be with respect to elevation. Now, you can delude yourselves that what elevation's imaginary. All right, so we're imagining from some imaginary. No, it's just measured from the surface. That's what elevation means. But these people think that changing the linguistics will change the way the world is functional. They're just delusional.
Wait a second, John. You're saying that they had an ad put on, and in doing so, it contradicts their definition? Did I hear that right?
Yes, Yeah, the definition is the same as what Nathan reads out. Nothing is different. But what they have is an add-on, like period at the end of what elevation angle is. Give it some space and create a new paragraph where you denounce the definition you just gave.
Bloody hell. It's like Nathan's right, though. Regardless of the definition, the physical demonstration of an elevation angle will never alter. Simple as that.
Oh, of course not. I just thought it was amusing that they went through such trouble and so many people contacted this man that he had to do that to appease these zealots.
It's not the first time it's happened. We know that. But really, what does it do? So what does it do for the individuals that
Nothing.
push a certain party to add on or change something? Does it give them a victory?
In their
Is it
minds,
still going to
yeah.
be measured flat?
Yes, in their minds, this is consequential. They are consequential to how the world functions. And by making another man change his, not their, semantical definition, in their mind, they've made a change to the world. You're like, okay, but there's 20 other definitions that still say exactly the same thing about measuring Earth's surface. All of them are inconsequential to how the measurement functions, with its axiomatic surface level principle incorporated into the title. Elevation angle? What's that? No, this person says that it's imaginary. Okay, don't use it to form a latitude grid to have a stupid ball to believe in then. I don't care. Why are you telling me this? Why do you think I matter in this regard? If I give you the radar tutorial description of what an elevation angle measurement is, you're going to go out and tell the people who produce radar and utilise it on a daily basis how flat the radar isn't. Is that what you're going to do? Do you think you're going to change the world by making them change how they define what an elevation angle is in the radar tutorial website? Because it won't. It won't alter what these things are. You're delusional.
And he didn't alter it. He did not alter it, though. It's the same definition that you read out. That's what I'm laughing about.
They added on.
Well, they didn't add on to the definition because there's that space, that new paragraph that's formed. That means it's a separately contained idea. That the definition itself.
Oh, so I think we're giving us too much time. Nathan, this is one of the moments we should have said, oh, that's lovely, and moved on.
Oh, no, it's a worthy discussion point. The altitude angle, open brackets, sometimes referred to as the, quote, solar elevation angle, end quote, close brackets, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. Furthermore, these are imagination land measurements. Good job, dweebs.
What makes me laugh as well, I mean, we're talking about all this and fighting over definitions. That doesn't change the physical reality of how an elevation angle measurement is. But you got all these globe dweebs arguing about an elevation angle when an elevation angle is got nothing to do with Earth curvature measurement. It's a elevation angle measurement, which requires a horizontal baseline. Yeah, it's nothing to do with measuring curvature. But they're arguing a lot about this for some reason, this angle measurement.
Give me something practical.
Yeah, because if you're going to come to me, they're right.
They've elevated me in some consequence to this subject, like I'm important. I'm not. But as you're out there doing this stuff, go and get us a better calendar, one that's more accurate, that doesn't need an alteration every 4 years. Go and achieve something with a measurement base. Now, if you come to me and go, the measurement I'm using is an imaginary measurement of a non-surface, I will laugh at you. But if you want to come to me with a measurement of Earth and show me how this is a challenge. This is Nathan's £10 million challenge to every inconsequential dweeb who has put me on a pedestal. Give us something practical. Give us something useful. Don't stand on the shoulders of the outside-of-the-box thinkers like Copernicus when they attempted to explain the epicycles and give us retrograde motion and orbital motion and distances. They have already done that. It's quite old, you realise, your one-world religion, utilising flat Earth measurement angles of the stars. It's quite old. But if you want to appeal to me from this point forward, give me something useful. Have you guys got an accurate calendar yet? Have you explained retrograde motion? Are you going to use imagination land angles for your orbits? Or are they actually surface level measurements? I mean, I'm intrigued. I like the outside of the box thinking of heliocentrism. I think it's very interesting. And I like how flat Earth must be measured to derive orbital motion. I think it's very clever. So you, dweebs, go out and measure something and turn it into something useful and practical. For me, your overlord. As you've ascribed me as this position, you keep appealing to me. So, go and do something useful. Not go and change Sus Design's definition. You're in a category error. You foolishly thought this was about semantics, like we had to go through the Socratic method to agree on what an elevation angle is. No, dweebs. That is not what you're being charged with. You're being charged to produce something useful. Yeah? Not stand on the shoulders of great men. Not start ascribing your name to other people's name. Don't take Euclid and then slap your name on the top of it like you've got some importance. Euclid's already done all that work though, hasn't he? Don't take what Copernicus did and start inferring that you are the arbiter of the sphericity for his outside-of-the-box thinking. You're not. Yeah? Get a grip on how utterly unimportant you are and then do something about it. Go out and develop something useful. Give us a new calendar. Give us a new flight structure with a new map. I mean, have you bull-believing idiots got an accurate map yet? I mean, I hear this all the time. Have you got a map? Have you got a map? Why are you appealing to me? One has not declared himself a cartographer. But you bunch of clowns seem to think that you are. So where's your accurate map, boneheads? Chop, chop.
Well, in chat, you got a guy named Elusive Measurements asking if the road curves, can you still measure the distance you need to walk or drive?
Wait, were you about to go out and make a new map, bonehead, dweeb, fart sniffer in chat? Are you about to produce a map? Where is it? Show me your map with all of the altitudes of the roads shown on said map. I mean, I've already got one in my cupboard from the Ordnance Survey. It's all measured with respect to a plane of reference. I didn't produce it. What, you don't like how flat the Ordnance Survey surveyed the roads for their altitudes with respect to sea level? And now you've come to me like I am your god? Yeah, I know. I am your god. And you need giving tasks. So you think that you are consequential to the altitudes of roads measured. Okay? So show your work. Good lad. Let's have it. Where's your accurate road map that you personally produce? Not the Ordnance Survey. No, we've already got that from the Ordnance Survey. You had no bearing on it. You didn't describe how high or low the roads were with respect to sea level. They did it. Now, I wouldn't be so bold as to take any credit for this flat Earth utilisation from sea level for the roads, but you have taken it upon yourself like some snot-nosed dweeb with adenoids that's saying, actually, can you... Me? Why are you asking me about measuring? You have mistaken me for a cartographer, you fool. Now, given that you've placed me on such a lofty pedestal, I can immediately send you out to task. Let's see your accurate map. Now, not the Ordnance Survey, yours. Because you seem to have some objection with how cartography is done. Not Nathan Oakley's cartography. Don't place me on a pedestal, dweeb.
Beats me though, like we're talking about the shape of Earth, yeah, and how Earth is measured, and we have a globe claim that can't be proven, no evidence for. And then you get these people talking about, a road with a slight curving, as if that's got anything to do with the subject matter that we're discussing.
I mean, we did measure the roads with respect to the height of sea level. That's what the Ordnance Survey have done. That's what the mapping guy was talking about, right? How they've dug a little trench and it's accurate to within a millimetre with the vertical datum system parallel to the horizon, utilising measurements from sea level. Those are the practically applied measurements of Earth when dealing with maps and describing the altitudes of roads. Now, my God, this is boring. Yeah? You want to go out and get yourself a little neckerchief and a woggle and start saying dib, 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 dob, 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 and talking about roads. I just look at you like you're a dweeb. Now, the fact that I've had to spend 10 years understanding the principles of cartography, in this case measurements of altitudes from sea level, makes me feel dirty. Like a dirty, snot-nosed, adenoidal dweeb. And I hate this feeling. Go away. You disgust me.
Oh, I'm getting the giggles again. Oh, yeah. But, we are serious about that. You go and do, make your own map that utilizes what you say the world is. And we'll check it out, man.
Yeah, we'll have a little look. Chop, chop. We've set you to task. Now, offski foxski. Go, go, go. Gather up what we demand. You want to put me on a pedestal? I'll start making demands of you. Produce a map. Show your workings. Tell us how you got the heights of the roads. There's a good lad. You dweeb. Me, I'm going to go and cuddle my wife. I won't actually care what you come back with. And when you do come back with it, you can be pretty damn sure that you'll be utilising surface level and sea level. Because that's how it's done. That's how it's measured. That's what Earth is. It's flat.
Yep, and the Greeks all knew that.
It's a fascinating time. I reckon there's about 5 more, maybe 6 more weeks before my book's finished. And then I'll be out on a tour.
See, look at that, though. How knowledge is giving you power, Nathan. You now control the dweebs.
Yeah, dweebs, hurry up. Where's your accurate map? Now, I appreciate that the people who control you, the elites, who pay for the systems to be developed to measure Earth flat from sea level, how they have utilised these maps to propagandise us as a whole. But that's us, you and I collectively, being manipulated by greater powers than ourselves. And it's easy to show through documented history with all the thousands of maps how the maps were distorted by the elites so that they could propagandise you. Don't put that on my shoulders. I'm not a cartographer. I'm not benefiting from the gerrymandering of maps. I'm not benefiting from the alteration and distortion of land masses. That's not my bag. They're all flat, though. They're all using sea level. There aren't any exceptions to this. They're all using the latitude grid. They're all Cartesian. They're all using directionality, that's south and north. They're all flat. It's just got nothing to do with me. But if you feel you can do better, you snot-faced adenoidal dweebs standing on the shoulders of great men who managed to think outside the box and create a worldview that you've adhered to because you were taught it in school, then you be our guest. Go ahead, get us a good map. Let's have a little look. See how quickly you need sea level. How quickly your distances are pointed out to be horizontal. We'll see. Off you go. We can put these dweebs to use, can't we? Let's see if they can actually produce anything fruitful. So far, I mean, what I've been given, what I've been offered is woeful. I mean, Simon Dan's flat Earth elevation angle measurements 1,000 times over. I mean, did he turn that into a map? Did he? Was he just affirming how flat he would measure Earth so that he could employ outside-of-the-box thinking from 500-year-old characters in a heliocentric one-world religion? Is that what he did? Well, that's not very useful, is it? Maybe there's someone else on the opposing side. Maybe Toon with his flat Earth elevation angle measurements of the sun for a 24-hour period. Did that result in anything fruitful? Did we get a new calendar out of it? Maybe a new time system? Maybe we got more accurate road maps? No, it didn't result in anything fruitful, did it? In fact, it just immediately faded into obscurity after it had offered a few dweebs, a few seconds of pain relief. That's all it achieved. And managed to make a few conspiratards look like idiots as they described them being intellis, like it was consequential to the measurement process that they had to employ when taking elevation angle measurements. What's that? They're all imaginary. All right, well, we don't need to worry about them then, do we? They literally achieved nothing then, just some imagination land measurements, says Sus Design. Like, imaginary. Okay, well, then they're not much use then.
You're not paying attention. You're poo-pooing everything. Nathan, I equals 2. Get it through your head.
Why am I being appealed to this? Again, am I the arbiter of mathematical concepts also? I understand. I am on such a lofty pedestal for the dweebs. I'm basically king of the dweebs, aren't I? I mean, they think they're revolting against me like peasants fail to appreciate that they're still under control of the king. Yeah, as they moan about the king's control. But here you are, bringing your tidings to me. Yeah, map accuracy is what I seek. Yeah, 1,000 flat Earth measurements isn't good enough. Maybe you don't understand. I put a line through Simon Dan's failure and a little cross after it. Went, no, that's not good enough. Do better.
Yeah, but you refuse to look at my measured flat destructive dichotomy. I spent a lot of time on that. It's my journey.
Lord Nathan, the dweeb demands of you look at his dichotomy.
Yes, the king's too busy to look at your destructive dichotomy. Also, I've pointed out that you're in a category error. This isn't a philosophical subject. When you measure elevation, that means from surface. Angle, that means 2 straight lines. No amount of logical consistency will alter what that is. Yeah, you have no control over this. The maps, they're already being used. Did you think you had some bearing on? They're already in existence. You had nothing to do with them, did you, dweeb?
Well, let me rephrase that. When somebody says that, have you looked at my argument? They're actually saying, "Can I come and hang out with you guys, please?"
My mum sewed my name in my blazer. Come and look. It looks really good. It's really straight. We don't care, dweeb. You didn't make the blazer, did you? You didn't sew that blazer. You didn't create it. The school uniform's not yours. And you're having to wear it whether you want to or not. The fact that your mum sewed a name into it isn't going to be something that's going to get the attention of the cool kids. But you must pay attention to me. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you've raised me up. You've got me on this pedestal where my opinion on your destructive dichotomy is of high value to you. Meanwhile, I ain't got crap about you. I just literally find you irritating. Like, I wouldn't want to be in your presence, generally speaking. You don't seem to understand that. You think you can make demands of us. It's like, no. We don't care what you demand of us. We're demanding that you come up with something useful. Yeah? 1,000 elevation angle measurements didn't change a single person's life. It didn't make anyone's life easier. It didn't alter any of the systems that are already in use and being used and will be continued to be used after this fact. What did you achieve? Your little folly with your 1,000 flat Earth measurements. Your little trip in a direction that's flat, in a distance that's flat, for elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours off a flat plane. You think you changed the world with those flat Earth measurements? They didn't achieve anything. They didn't give us anything new, did they? Just a waste of time, just so you could sit around sniffing your own farts and appealing to us with this information. Yeah? I mean, I was so valued in this process that I got a phone call from Antarctica while they were measuring Earth flat. That's how valuable I am to you. That's the pedestal you put me on. Me, I'm saying I don't have any bearing on it. I'm not making any maps. I understand how maps work. Yeah, I've spent 10 years looking at the subject, but I don't have any bearing on it. I'm not consequential to it. Why would you have put me on this high pedestal? I wonder. Well, if you're going to have me here, no worries. Get me something useful. What did we get from a 24-hour flat Earth measurement of the sun? Did it give us anything? Did anything change? Did we get a new calendar? Did we get a new time system? Did flight levels get altered? Did we stop using sea level as a result of this? No, so it didn't achieve anything. You're going to have to do better. Your king is not impressed.
I figured after I did that where I conceded every point and Earth would still need to be flat to have an argument about it, I thought that would be more impactful on the tweets, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it can.
No. Don't be too hasty. You were just ahead of your time. Don't mistake being ahead of your time with being ineffective. No. That time is now rather than back then. You saying it in that moment 5 seconds ago was extremely valuable, right? What John is describing is how in a perceived debate, there isn't one, John could concede every single position you globe-believing, fart-sniffing, snot-nosed dweebs retain, because every single one of them, without exception, required Earth to be flat to achieve them. So, in debate, well, what debate? Yeah, okay, you can have your position. You'll need my position, though. My position that it's flat. That's with me sniffing my own farts like I'm consequential in this. I'm not. Trying to make that clear. That doesn't alter the fact that on the road to this particular point, John very astutely recognised how dependent on a flat Earth our opponent's position was. Is, not past tense. Back then, nobody picked up what you were putting down, John. Now, half my audience would absolutely appreciate what you are putting down. They didn't then. I didn't then. You said it yourself. You were met with stony silences from the panel. Now you're getting nothing but praise. But that's what being ahead of your time entails, right? You've got to be the first to get it, to be ahead of your time. And there's going to be a period where you put down it and nobody picks it back up. You're like, well, I'm putting it down. It's really concise. And everyone goes, what? Because they just don't get it.
Hold on. What are you saying? When John conceded everything, nobody knew what he was talking about? I don't think that's accurate, Nathan.
Okay. Well, who took the baton off him and ran with it then? Name one person.
Because they didn't want to. They still want to stay in an argument. Don't you understand? Once you do that, you knock the whole argument out of its loop. It's no longer an argument. And they don't want that. They want an argument.
I still don't think that's correlated with them appreciating what John was putting down. I can only use my own introspection, so I won't stereotype. I didn't pick up what he was putting down. It took a while to sink in. And I absolutely wanted a silver bullet. It wasn't because I wanted to continue the argument. Now, you could argue, yeah, you did. You were running the debate. Well, that could be argued, but I absolutely wanted to reach this level of enlightenment that I am at now, where I can step back from what is perceived to be a debate and just say, I already know I've won. Nobody would not want that if you are in a perceived to be debate. If somebody gives you a statement that declares your victory without any alternative being capable of being offered in response, who's not going to take it if you comprehend it? It's just very few people in the moment did.
You think that's what it was? I don't know. Because I understand exactly what you're saying. And that's what I used to say. We got a silver bullet and nobody wants to use it. And the reason is because they wanted to continue to argue. They wanted to show their intellectual superiority in heliocentric nonsense. So they want to argue how it's not a globe.
Yeah, we've been trained
Yeah,
to
but-
be that way. Go ahead, John.
But the thing is, right? What is the point of arguing if you don't want it to end?
Well, there is no point. That's the point.
Oh well, I can answer that position from a devil's advocate point of view, which is to say that in my worldview, what I'm doing in this second is very important to me, and I value doing what I am doing at any given point. If I don't value it, then I don't want to be doing it, right? Now, at the point where you're saying, why would you argue if the ends isn't winning? That's essentially what you're saying if I boil it down to its brass tacks. Well, because, like I've just pointed out, as a devil's advocate, I'm not saying this is my position, in the moment, the debate is enjoyable. Therefore, you want that moment to last because you're sniffing your own farts, expressing your intellectual superiority, lording it over next man. You know, I'm doing it for comic effect when I describe myself as being the king of the dweebs in this regard. Yeah, the cool kid they all look up to, that they want to appeal to, that they want to understand their position. They want me to see their name in their blazer, bless them. But that's sarcasm. When it comes to just me playing devil's advocate for why I would want a debate to continue, I can easily argue that because it's enjoyable in the moment. Because when you're feeling that air of superiority over next man who has a different worldview that you shared until recently, then you can walk away from that encounter feeling like, exactly as I've just said, the intellectual superior in the discussion. People love that. People love sniffing their own farts.
Right. So it comes down to they just want to sniff their own farts.
Yes,
Which is Neil's point.
absolutely.
I mean, I'm stating that as a devil's advocate position. I actually agree with you, John, which is to say, what's the point of discussion? In reality, frustrations were born out of not being able to achieve an end to the discussion. That is to say, you counteract a position and then the person rebuts you. You're like, well, that's frustrating. I want my position in opposition to end when I finish my statement. I don't want a rebuttal. I want it to end the discussion. So when you actually get to that point where you've got this requires a flat earth for you as well, you know, why would I want to welcome you to flat earth? Number one, you despise me. You describe how you hate me. So why would I want you to have anything? I'd rather detach myself from you as opposed to, oh, well, I've got this silver bullet now, so let's start shooting at each other. It's like, nah, I can now walk off the battlefield. I know that regardless of what's going on over there on the battlefield, over here there's people doing mapping and flying planes and building buildings. And they didn't even know there was a battle going on most of the time. Occasionally, they get dragged into it and they just get told, "Cock to the side with the biggest army, quickly." And they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, curved is flat and that, yeah. That's what they do. But that's only because they're forced into the battlefield. Most of the time, they're quite happily measuring Earth flat without any consequence.
Yeah, but I mean, some of the people who are perceived to be on our side, they're running out on the battlefield and like reviving people to fight them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get what was the purpose in it then? It's like it loses all meaning when you say you just want to do it because it's fun.
Okay, let me ask you a question, John. Let's revisit that whole when you conceded everything, right? What were you confronted with when you went into this debate with them? What actually happened?
They measured from a plane of reference to establish elevation angles to find a fix on a map that was flat and describe a distance that was flat to how far away that was from the point you measured from. Flat.
So they were using flat right from Jump Street, correct?
Not that, again, you're giving them too much importance when you say they were. No, they weren't. These dweebs weren't doing a damn thing. They'd created this sense of intellectual superiority by verbally describing what is done. as opposed to what they do. They're not doing anything. They're
All right,
utterly
cartographers.
inconsequential.
Forget about them. Cartographers.
I can see that. Yeah, they just give out the measurements from a planar reference.
Okay, that was done by who? Cartographers, people that made the maps, right?
Yeah.
So they did the work,
Yeah.
correct? They used
Yeah.
it flat. They had to, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you faced with Ruhif and McToon?
I was nothing. I was trying to tell them good job that, their planar measurements of Earth's surface has achieved the ends that they were going, but they never let me get that out. They wouldn't even let me congratulate them.
Yeah, that's pretty telling, right?
Yeah, but telling in an inconsequential way. Like, it doesn't matter that they utilised Earth's flat surface level to achieve their ends in heliocentric debate. They didn't have any bearing on those measurements. They were already in effect. They'd already been produced. The derivation of flat Earth angle measurement to produce heliocentrism was already in standing, or whatever the words are. I can't think of the right words to say already in effect.
They were already accounted for. Here's the thing. People are not, still, I don't know if they're willingly not putting it together when they say something like distance, and they're not putting it together. When they say something like elevation, and they're not putting it together. I mean, I don't know. It came very easy to me. I don't know, maybe because of my background, but they're not putting it together. Obviously, because there's still people contesting it, trying to.
They're arguing with tape measures. Is all they're doing.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
arguing with
basically.
compasses. Exactly. They're arguing with sextants, and you're like, this is silly. And I don't need to be a defense lawyer for a sextant or a compass, do I? It is what it
Nope.
is. I don't need to defend it.
But you must. This is your claim. You claim that Earth is measured flat, Nathan. This is your claim.
That's
and
the
I'm here to
ultimate-
rebut your claim.
The ultimate category error when you describe a flat Earth measurement as a claim. Like, it's close to, but not quite, putting it into a philosophical suggestion when you put it into an if statement. Like, no, you've made it more akin to what really happens. It gets personalised as an individual me and my claim. You're like, no, it's not a claim. Sea level's not a freaking claim, right? Elevation angles aren't a claim. It's just ludicrous.
No, those are just facts. We all use sea level. I mean sea level.
Today's show is going to be called
Yeah, they
Battlefield
make
Earth.
measurements.
Just wanted to make this parallel because it's quite amusing to me. So over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been looking for connections back to Scientology because of the heliocentric one world religion having a parallel with the heliocentrism used in the Scientology religion. Well, today's show title is going to be Battlefield Earth. Does anybody know how that references back to Scientology? Speak now. If you don't, I'll just tell you. Battlefield Earth is a story written by L. Ron Hubbard that was put into movie form by John Travolta.
Yep.
That's today's show title, Battlefield Earth. So I'll see if I can dig out
as low budget as you can get that show.
Yeah, it was great. It was absolute garbage. It was a terrible movie, but nevertheless, it's become a show title for us today. So I'll dig out a appropriate picture of what's his name, Travolta with his massive dreadlocks. And Battlefield Earth will be the show title.
That's actually a good title.
I thank you. I agree.
Get one deck.
Sorry, mate, I can't remember. Yeah, just agreeing. You can't argue with the measurements, I think we were saying, and physical evidence, demonstrations of things. You can't you can argue as much as you want about a definition and what these words means, but you can't argue with a measurement. Yeah, simple as that.
don't know if you're true there. We'll just have to put that to the test. Let's give it a go. You do not refer to a flat Earth tape measure! You do not! Speak to me, tape measure! It's not working. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, and to constantly go over topography, it's very annoying to me. And people ain't gonna get it. I don't have time for this. It really just annoys me.
So that if we just change the definition, it'll change what's happening in physical reality. Then the measurement will change. If we just change the words to the definition, then we won't be measuring sea level. We'll be measuring sea curved, and everything's fine then.
We need to put this to a test. I'm going to have to dig out a compass and start yelling at that. I'm sure I can get blood out of that stone.
If I'm doing a measurement of, let's say, an area that I want to buy as property, and I come across a mountain, and that mountain's like maybe 32 feet. How do I know that that's 32 feet? What is that in reference to? I mean, this is too late to even ask this question.
Oxbow Spirit 4378 from the chat says, "How dare you tape measure?" I'm going to round out the show relatively early today, so I want to do a bit more book editing. We've spent an entire week on one chapter, Gravity. It's a long chapter, so for that reason, I'm going to round up relatively soon.
So
Instead of 10 minutes late,
mate.
I'll be on the hour today. You ready, hun?
Well, just so you know, my protractor told me that the straight line at the bottom of it was curving.
That dirty slut.
Well, then the measurement of my mountain's got to be wrong then, because how would I get the height of my freaking mountain if it's curving away from me?
I mean,
Yeah,
somebody might measure something incorrectly, but it doesn't. That won't change the actual physical measurement of what that object or thing is.
Oh, don't be so hasty. Have you checked? Have you yelled at a sextant yet? You need to test these things.
Yelling at a compass.
I haven't tried that. I will. It's something that we must endeavour to find out. If you yell at the compass, does it stop being flat?
Oh, wow. That's a destructive dichotomy right there, Nathan.
Right, although early on that note, I am going to round out this live show. So with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's pre and live show possible. Unfortunately, because of book editing, there will not be any after show to follow. So this is where we bid everybody farewell. So another massive thank you if you are watching on the after show for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Hit me up on PayPal and Patreon, smashing the super chat, all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.